The district of Greenwood in its prime was famously described by Booker T. Washington as Black Wall Street. It was so named because it was the most vibrant and affluent African-American community in the United States. It was an oasis of opportunity in a desert of du jour discrimination. For many African-Americans in search for a better life, it was a promised land amid the broken promise of Reconstruction. It was home to 10,000 residents. There were 30 vibrant restaurants, 45 vibrant grocers and meat markets. There was a 54-room hotel. There was a theater and a hospital. Black Wall Street was a self-contained, self-sufficient community of black wealth, a community of black entrepreneurship and black ownership. And Black Wall Street, at the hands of racial terrorism, at the hands of racial violence, the wealthiest black community in the United States, became a scene of mass murder and looting and arson. It became a scene of death, destruction, and displacement, and nothing was spared in the Tulsa Race Massacre. Churches and schools and hospitals were burned down. 12,000 homes burned down, 35 blocks burned down. The Tulsa burning had a death toll of 300 and a displacement toll of 10,000. 10,000 people lost their homes and their businesses and their livelihoods, and 6,000 of those people were relegated to internment camps. And then after the internment camps, black professionals, black business owners who lost everything were forced to live in tents and shacks. It was the worst act of racial terrorism and one of the worst acts of domestic terrorism in the history of the United States. I see a parallel between the Tulsa Race Massacre and January 6th. The insurrection against the United States Congress on January 6th was not simply an attack on a physical structure. It was an expression of racial rage and resentment against multiracial democracy. And the same is true of the Tulsa Race Massacre. We have to recognize that the domestic terrorism that we saw unfold on January 6th did not happen in a vacuum. It has a history, and that history includes the KKK, it includes Jim Crow, and yes, it includes the Tulsa Race Massacre. And it is a scandal in America that most Americans have never heard of the Tulsa Race Massacre. And as Congressman Johnson noted earlier, it's been referred to as a race riot, which is an attempt to whitewash the white supremacist domestic terrorism at the heart of the massacre. And so we are here to tell the truth about the Tulsa Greenwood Massacre, because we see a proper revision of history away from whitewashing as part of our national reckoning with race in America.